Am I the asshole? For wanting to deter a person struggling with homelessness from sleeping on my patio? I am a married woman in my 30s who lives in a medium-density city. Our apartment is a garden apartment, which means our front door is below street level, on the back of the house facing an alley parking. Shortly after we moved here, a homeless man began to sleep in the chairs we placed in our hobbit hole. I was anxious, my husband was not. The fella usually left before we woke, and he didn't mess anything up or steal, just shuffled around the chair's doormat some large pieces of cardboard I was storing out there. He wasn't causing problems, so my husband was fine to ignore it. Until this morning, when as I straightened the askew furniture, I found used hard drug paraphernalia hidden under my doormat. It was a crack pipe, not an intravenous setup. My husband brought in all our furniture from the patio, and I have purchased a camera that I'll be putting up along with a "I'm very sorry, please stay somewhere else" sort of sign. I just feel like such an asshole because I know I don't know the complexities of what this man is struggling with, and it feels bad to make assumptions. He found a comfy place to sleep where he thought he'd be out of the way, and I'm putting up a camera and telling him to buzz off basically. But knowing he's doing hard drugs in front of the only entrance to my home is just too terrifying to ignore, especially considering I leave for work when it's still dark out most mornings. Not the asshole. It's really not an easy decision, and the fact that you feel bad shows that you have a good heart. The problem with this type of drug is not when the person takes it, it's when they run out of it. And it always happens eventually. What's more, over time, the person's mental health collapses and they may take actions that they would never have taken under normal circumstances. This also always happens eventually, at least after a while. Unfortunately, it's almost impossible for this story to end well for you, so asking him to leave is the only thing you can do. Not the asshole. Also, you are creating a cozy little thought process for a complete stranger. You have no idea what his thoughts are, especially mind-altered. Leaving the drugs under your doormat demonstrates that this person is getting bolder as he grows more comfortable with the arrangement he's set up for himself. Conflicted feelings are what causes people to say "I will call the police," revealing their plans to the intruder who now has time to act instead of calling them immediately, which is what you should do today. Not the asshole. You extended compassion as long as you could, until you discovered the drugs. You don't want to be liable if he odds on your porch. If he had kept clean, sounds like you'd have been fine to let him continue, which makes you not the asshole. Not the asshole. I wish we handled hopelessness and addiction better. Not the asshole. Even compassion has its limits. Not the asshole. Should anything happen and drugs are found on your property, you're gonna be the one in trouble. Also, an unknown man, one on drugs in your property, could become a safety issue at any unpredictable time. Imagine if your husband is out of town some night, how are you going to feel? What if you have kids over? I'd give him a couple nights warning and then call the cops if he comes again. Not the asshole, at all. Hard drug use often leads to drug-induced psychosis. You do not want to be on the receiving end if he has a mental breakdown. Not the asshole. Drug paraphernalia is dangerous, and people like drugs are dangerously. Kindness of letting him sleep there will unfortunately encourage other rough sleepers to join him, who may not be as polite. He will also, as time passes, start to build a nest of his own belongings, which will leave you unable to use your porch. There is also the risk of other users and dealers starting to frequent the cozy little corner. I'm so sorry to hear this. It'll soon become your responsibility if he were to overdose on your front doorstep. And it's also a safety issue for you too, if he's suffering from a disease and you happen to scratch yourself on one of his needles. Or if he becomes aggressive while high, either hurting your hubby, or destroys your property. Not the asshole, but keep an eye out for when he returns tonight. He may become agitated at losing his squat and the paraphernalia you found. Not the asshole. Many addicts use open flames to smoke their drugs or cook them prior to injecting them. You do not want a fire hazard in your property. In San Francisco we are getting a lot of fires because of this. It is not selfish, wrong, or evil to not want drug use on your property. Drug users don't spend their own paycheck to buy their stuff. They steal yours. Not the asshole. It's good that you feel some compassion for the person and some remorse about what you are doing. But it needs to be done, and it makes you not the asshole. Not the asshole. You know nothing about this guy besides the fact that he's homeless and a needle drug user. He may also use PCP and other drugs that will agitate him. The dude blew his soft spot by using on your property. Helping the homeless generally does not include a private shooting gallery. Maybe he'll bring a friend next week, and they bring a friend and you will have to wade through trash and human waste to get to your door. It's kind to let them sleep there, but once he crossed that line of drug use you can no longer accommodate them. Men and women have a very different safety reality in this world, and men don't always get it even when cognitively they know the dangers. I'm sorry, what a sad situation. I totally understand your conflicted feelings. Not the asshole. All you know about this guy is that he's trespassing on your property and doing illegal street drugs. He could be a decent guy down on his luck, or he could be a psychopath. There are resources out there for enough, but they are there. You do not need to put your home and possibly your life at risk by giving this guy a place to shoot up. If that were my patio, that guy would have worn out his welcome after the first night. Yes, he's homeless, but that doesn't mean you have to give up your patio for him to sleep on. Please make absolutely certain that you have incredibly secure locks at your back door. I'm not sure if this is a slide or if it is. Maybe put a broomstick handle in there. If it's a regular door, you can go on Amazon and buy security sticks that you shove up against the doorknob and onto the floor, and they're very difficult to move. Do everything that you can keep safe. I would recommend when this person shows up, call the police. They have no right to be on your property. I wish you the best of luck. Not the asshole. I applaud you for your kind heart, but the drug use is a deal breaker. No judgment here, but there is something incredibly wrong with the world if you're actually questioning if you're TA in not wanting a homeless stranger to use drugs on your property. What the actual fuck? Next time get him to move along right away. He knows he's trespassing. Your mistake was tolerating it rather than telling him he's not welcome on your property the first night. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Get the authorities involved and remove that person. Not the asshole. Please do not feel guilty. You know nothing about this man, and I encourage you not to get involved directly for your own safety due to the hard drugs. Not the asshole, but as someone living in a city with a very large unhoused population, it's a refreshing change of pace to read about someone thinking with compassion first. That said, you did your best to allow this arrangement until it put your safety at risk. It's reasonable to not want the risk of hard drugs and used needles on your property. Will you still be struggling with guilt when you accidentally prick yourself with one of his needles and catch hepatitis or HIV? Or any number of other infections? Yes, it's sad that he has no home, but you are not responsible for providing him with one. Moreover, people who feel entitled to use your property could be all kinds of unstable. Once he feels good and comfy in your hobbit hole, you don't know what his next move will be. Don't wait to find out. The fact you have to leave while it's still dark is all I need to hear. I lived in a 4-apartment building. The lady below me left before sunrise every day. 1 a.m. she just happened to look out as a man positioned himself in bushes near her car. She opened the door, screamed at him, and he ran away. No one thinks he was just out there trying to relieve himself. Please do whatever you need to do to protect yourself. Bop. Worked at a homeless shelter for 5 years. They brought in roaches, lice, bedbugs, fleas and scabies. So best not to have homeless people on your outdoor furniture. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. From personal experience,